Those Charleston guys are up to something in Boston. This is City on a Hill, episode 2, what they saw in Southie High, and we are going to break it down. Make sure you guys stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, folks, love this music for this show. Welcome to the City on a Hill after show. I am your girl, Nakia Monet, and I cannot do this by myself, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host.
I'm Coy Jandro. I am very excited. This is a Boston homegrown home field panel because that is the show, yes. And I am very proud the casting of the show and the casting of this after show are in kind.
That's right. So we may be a little biased because we're from Boston.
Couldn't be more biased, I'd say. Like, I actually didn't even put that together. Like, what if they put those people in the show because maybe they love it?
Maybe because they love Boston and they love everything about it.
I miss my town.
Beantown, stand up. As you guys know, if you guys do know, I am from New York City, but I did grow up in Chelsea, and Coy's also from Boston. And next week and the weeks coming, we will have a full panel who's also from Boston. So this is going to be a really interesting show. We are now on episode 2, City on a Hill. Before we dig in, just to let you guys know, we do have a cool special segment for you guys, and we do have some news and gossip, so make sure you guys stay tuned. What did you think about this episode?
So,
overall thoughts.
I love this show because it's able to capture the feel of not just the location, but the time. Like, they really use the music creatively. The editing actually reminds me of an early 90s police procedural.
Yeah.
So they edit not like today's television. They edit in a time lost. Like, I don't remember a show that feels like this in the last 15 years. So adding that to the music, to the wardrobe, to all the stuff that most shows do, really give it a specific flavor. And I love that I know all of these people. I grew up with these exact kids. I grew up with these exact situations. Like, this all feels impossibly accurate to the point where they mention a name from, like, our childhood. It's like, oh, right. Okay, yeah, that did happen right before us. Because I'm not old enough to be, like, aware of 1989 Boston, but I'm aware of, like, what Whitey did in 89. And, like, what those things, the ramifications later.
Yes.
So it's been, and, like, Nashua is where I shopped. So seeing, like, the flower depot and, like, it's, like, here in Charleston, bank robbery, it like, warmed my heart to hear that Charleston specifically has been robbing banks so long that it's got, like, a 30-year run.
Yes, and the show is so nostalgic. And I don't know if we're saying this because we're from Boston, but watching it, you feel like you're at home from seeing all the different monuments and the way you felt about Nassau. Like, I felt that way about Revere Beach because I grew up in Chelsea. So seeing everything, I know all these people. Like you said, as kids, like, we weren't around 89 Boston, but growing up in schools, like I was just telling you off air, like I went to Catholic school and my teacher, Sister Nancy, would always talk about Whitey Bulger. So that was the thing in Boston where she would be like, he's this mysterious guy and no one knows who he is. And I love that this show, they drop history facts because we learn about the Boston bus situation, which we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I thought this episode was really good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the end of episode 1 kind of caught me off guard. So we'll kind of jump into it. So the end of episode 1, we kind of find out that Jimmie, Frank's brother, is an informant.
Yeah.
And he's working with Jackie. And when I seen that at the end of that first episode, I was like, wait, whoa. What was, like, your initial reaction when you found that out?
So I was really enjoying that the show was twisty and turny, but in very, like, linear ways, if that makes sense. Like, it was doing the things that you expect a pilot to do. Like, these the characters, something sketchy, these the characters, and everyone kind of, like, crossed their T's and dotted their I's. But I knew it needed to have something. I knew it needed to have a little bit to land me with. Like, every trailer has that post-title, and then there's that 5-second, you're like, oh! And I love that the choice they made with this was that almost unlikable Bacon and the almost unlikable Loudmouth are in cahoots. Like, I really dug that the two characters that shouldn't be likable but find a way to be are the two that are working together. Like, Jonathan Tucker is just charm incarnate. So if he was the rat, it wouldn't have worked for me because I'd be like, I want to love him because he's a dirty, fucking awesome sketchball of a guy.
Yeah.
Whereas the Loudmouth, like, he's got to have something more to him, otherwise he's a cliche.
Yes, because in episode 1, you think that he's just this stupid brother who really doesn't have anything to offer, but at the end when you're like, wait, no, he's actually smart and he's in cahoots with Kevin Bacon's character. So what I do love about this show, every episode, we're only on episode 2.
Both episodes,
they open with a little bit of facts. So I kind of took a screen grab of the facts. So this one says, 2 weeks ago, an armed car went missing in Revere, Massachusetts. Massachusetts, 3 guards were presumed dead. 5 days later, another armed car heist took place in Nassau, New Hampshire, and that's how we open the episode.
Yeah.
So when we do open, we do see Jimmie and Jackie sitting and having that conversation, and Jimmie giving Jackie a little bit too much information, and he's like, look, I want immunity. I need money to see my kids. But I was thinking, I'm like, damn, is he kind of throwing his brother under the bus for $20,000?
100%. But this is $20,1989. That's worth something. Not to say it's okay to rat your brother out, but $20,000 today, especially in LA, buys you a Chipotle. $20,000 in 1989 buys you a reasonable sized condo. Or like, you know, a payment on it, like something.
Yeah.
Like $20,000 then was different. Not to say you should rat your brother out for any sum of money, but it's funny to look back in these times, like, you know, $5,000 brought you a brand new car back then.
Exactly.
So that's the perspective. And I also like that opening sequence you talk about, it puts you you're within the city. You're not watching a show where you're outside of the city. One of the things I like about the show is you're watching from within it. And again, that might be our bias because all these people, like, 1989 is literally like, we know the kids of these people.
Yes.
Like all the people that are like 20 in this.
You know, I was thinking, I was like, damn, I wonder, like, if this is real, these people are like, where are their kids? Because we know the kid. Like, we know, like, these are the parents.
I like boxed with Mickey Ward and Lowell. And, like, Mickey would have been around this back in 89.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been that time frame. So it's just, it's interesting to see how little has changed and how much has changed at the same time.
Yeah, good old Boston. But yeah, Jimmie, I was shocked at because I was like, his brother loves him so much, and to kind of see him, I mean, everyone has their reasons. Like he said, he wants to see his kids. He's like, I need to give them money, and I just see the love that his brother shows him. So I'm like, okay. But now I get the insight because where he gets upset, where he's like, you got, I believe his name is, I wrote his name down. He's like, you got, what's his face, a lawyer. Tommy Hayes. You got Tommy Hayes, a lawyer. So to me, I looked at it like, okay, I think he loves his brother, but I also think that he resents his brother. So that was a little interesting. But with Jimmie sitting down with Jackie, kind of opens the Kenickie case.
Which is the big mystery of the show.
The big mystery, because episode 1, oh God, there's so many characters on the show.
His daughter.
Frank's daughter, Kit.
Yes.
Beautiful Kit. She says that she has all these nightmares, and she says the Kenickie name. She says Kelly Kenickie. So all throughout episode 1, you're hearing this mysterious name, but you don't know who it is.
Right.
So episode 2, we finally get to find out that there's a guy who's presumed dead and he's missing.
Yeah.
And I call them the Charlestown Boys, because I don't know what to call them, may have something to do with it. What do you think? I
think they definitely had something to do with it. I think it's one of the earlier cases, and I think it's not a coincidence they mention a cold case and using it as leverage later. So I think Kenickie's going to come back up. I definitely think the thing I missed the most this season was actually that daughter, because I'm like, yo, she got beat up with a hockey stick last episode. What's going on? So I love that not only is there so many characters we can't keep track of the amount of names, but we're also invested in that many characters where I'm worried what she's up to. And we met that girl for like 6 minutes.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
I
impressive.
That. Even with like Jackie's mother-in-law, which we'll get a little bit into her, the kids, because I was like, wait, are they going to beat this little kid's ass? Like, who's beating her up with the hockey stick? So I like that you said that we get to learn new different characters. Like, it's just not on the Charleston Boys. It's not just on like Jackie and Aldis's character. It's not about the cops. Like, it's on everybody, which I love. So I was really interested in the whole Kenickie situation. So I now call them the Dream Team, the prosecuting FBI team. I have all these different names. We got the Charleston Boys and the Dream Team. The Dream Team, they start to knock on doors and they start to ask questions, and Tommy Hayes is the first one who they ask, and he gets a little nervous because apparently he changed his statement.
Yeah.
So listen, I feel like when you have so many hands in the pot, someone's bound to go down.
Yep.
And now that we know that Jimmie is an informant, it's not going to look good. But something that looks good, it looks like the Charleston Boys pulled up a bigger heist.
Yeah, that's the scene with with my boy Tucker with that mirror, and then seeing his brother like just fooling with it this episode, like just that little bit that is shifted out. It's
Were you
such
nervous?
So like it's such a testament to good TV making that we're like watching someone with a mirror being like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And that's like we're 2 episodes in and already that invested, and I think that's really impressive.
Yeah.
And with this many characters, it's hard to invest because you're invested, like your attention is split 15 ways.
Yeah.
So it's easy to lose track. Instead, we're like, what's going on here? What's going on there? Oh, don't touch that mirror. And it keeps you invested in such a specific way. And I think that this episode, I liked the directing in this episode a little better. I thought the dynamic of when Kevin Bacon's character was talking to the snitch, the side profiles they did, and how it captured like a certain type of dynamic for interrogation, how you felt removed but also invested. And then the show continued with these really interesting edits, and then anytime they show the car, it's got this really it shows the world at the time through just a frame or two. Like the show's able to do in 10 seconds what it would take another show to do in 2 minutes.
It's so nostalgic, and I love the way, like you said, I love the way it's shot.
Yeah.
I love the camera work. I love the way it looks. It looks very 1989, 1992. Like, it looks so nostalgic.
Whatever frames they're using, whatever filters they got on it, definitely have that. And the writer's from Quincy. Like, the writer gets it.
Look at that.
The writer was like discovered by Affleck and Damon years ago, and this has been in development for a bit. And the writer really gets this town. There's so many lines, especially in the first episode when they're establishing the characters. There's so many lines. I'm like, oh, I've heard that before. Like, that's like an old proverb from Boston. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you hear something at a bar and then years later someone else says it. That's this show.
I do appreciate a show like this where you bring in the people who are from the town. You bring in the Boston people. You bring in the EP. You bring in the two EPs, Matt and Ben, who are from Boston and they understand the town. So that's why I really appreciate the show. And we're only 2 episodes in.
Yeah.
So I'm invested. Like when his brother was moving the mirror and the page went up, I was like, Jesus Christ, don't touch the mirror. But the guys hold up a bigger heist and his brother has no idea that he's actually going back and forth. But to get rid of some of the money, the guys have to gamble some of it away. Yeah. And I love the quote that Frank says to his brother. He's like, you can rob money, but we now have to get away with robbing the money. He's so smart, but it's unfortunate that his brother is probably going to be the person to take him down. Can we talk about Kathleen, though? Tucker's wife on the show, how badass she is.
Oh, she's every scene. The scene with the daughter from episode 1 where she just handles it calmly is like, no, you're going to get him back, you're going to break his dick. Like, that scene alone, I was like, oh, no, that makes sense, they're together. And I love that this show isn't veering away from the power struggle in a relationship. Instead of being like, strong man, weak woman, it's strong man, strong woman, because if you want to make the man look strong, and I love that modern TV is doing this, you don't paint their mate as weak. Like, that's a weakness in all parties involved. If you want a strong female character and you make the male weak, it shows, like, why did they get married? And vice versa. If you have a strong male, why would they want to be with someone lesser than them? So I love that television and culture is catching on to the fact that, like, if you're an intelligent, capable, smart person, your significant other probably is too. So I love that the show's like, yo, we got Jonathan Tucker, who is doing all of this. We got to cast someone that's going to keep up with him or take that over. And I love that they're showing that through the strength of his daughter. Everyone in that family dynamic is just like,
everyone's strong, everyone's witty, and I love her character because when you watch some things like this, even if it's like a mobster type movie or anything to do with gangs, the wives are usually the ones who sit at home and they mind their business. Yeah. But not his wife. She's like, no, how much? What are we doing? Count the money. Like,
too much.
She's in the plans, and I loved seeing that. That was like a big turn on for me. I was like, yes, and I love the strong female presence on the show as far as like Siobhan, who's Decourcey's wife, who's a lawyer, Kathleen. Even when we see Kevin Bacon's wife, I think we're going to see her going forward.
She'll grow.
Because of her mother. So I love seeing that. But let's go into Jackie.
And Kevin Bacon's daughter.
She,
every time she's on screen is badass. Yeah, I just wanted to give her some love.
So that's why I appreciate the show, because we also see the women, and now we meet a new investigator, Rachel, who's working with the Dream Team. Also badass.
And also Aldis's wife is everything she's in. She like keeps up and then some, and I really respect that.
I'm like, these women are badass on the show, so I love that we have that dynamic with the women and the men. But speaking of Kevin Bacon, Jackie, he's one of those characters who you love to hate.
Oh, he's instant.
He's a dick, but you kind of love him.
Yeah.
But he's up to no good. He is, on the other side of town and doing his thing, and he notices something on his side chick when he was, doing the business, and he thought, maybe I should get an STD check.
Yeah.
But so this is my confusion. Now, I don't know how they did it in the early 90s. When the free clinic calls the house, I thought it was like privacy instead of them kind of just giving the information.
Yeah, like immediately like, oh, this is the right house. Like,
so Jackie's mother-in-law happens to pick up and finds out that he's stepping out on her precious daughter.
Yeah.
And they kind of have this tiff where though you love Jackie's character and you love Kevin Bacon's character, you kind of see where he can kind of go. So when I seen him threatening his mother-in-law, I was like, okay, this guy's crazy.
And her dead husband's like, like toy. Like when he's just like, yo, I didn't like him ever. I was like, all right. Like we've already seen him be bad. So how do you make him be worse? And I love that he's like desecrating the dead. And I also love that Kevin Bacon, he's another one of those characters where like I know that guy. And what the things, and I also like as a Bostonian, it makes me nervous because some of his thoughts I'm like, oh, I've thought that. Like a lot. I don't love that my city is now like Lowell's got a Whole Foods Southie's got a Whole Foods across from a Yoga Works. Mull's Diner is 2 blocks from a Whole Foods. What is that shit?
Can we talk about like the Assembly? Have you ever been? What is it? It's not Saugus, but it's next to Chelsea. I think it's like Medford or Malden.
Okay.
This is where like Good Times used to be, the arcade and the movie theater. Yeah. It's now like a whole shopping center. It's like all these different restaurants.
Doesn't that feel weird?
It's so weird. My mom's like, "Oh, you will love it." I'm like, "What? No."
So some of that opening episode dialogue where Kevin Bacon's establishing his character and he's like, "This city used to be something when bad men were running it and they knew they were bad men," and like there's a piece of me that's like, "Yo, the Yoga Works doesn't belong where somebody gets stabbed." Like there's something to it.
No, that Starbucks does not belong on that corner. No, honestly, and I think they were very smart to like establish his character because that's what a lot of people think, and that's how a lot of people think today. Where it's like, wait, whoa, and that's just ramifications of gentrification, and
that's timeless. I love that it felt authentically 1989, but also authentically 2019, where we're like, yo, that arcade, and it would have been that arcade getting put in 89, like that, you know what I mean?
And like for us, that was our thing.
That's
and then
our like
Jackie and they're like, wait, what the hell? Why is there arcade? This is where we would hang out and drink and do our thing. Is it?
Love the show.
Full circle. What's such
stuff.
a great
Good stuff. Boston
show.
locals watching a Boston local show.
Biased. Sue us. What
Some New Yorkers watching this AfterBuzz show right now are like, the fuck
like,
is
what's
this
wrong
show?
with you guys? If New Yorkers are New Yorkers, I still got you because I'm from Brooklyn, but I did grow up in Boston. So, this is about Boston today. So, New York, we're going to have to go over there.
That's the other show.
We're a little biased.
You guys have had some good TV, though. Let's not.
New York,
you've done okay.
We've done okay. Boston, I feel like it's time for our show. We've had some shows here and there, but I think this is a great show because it's nostalgic and it's Boston. And I feel like Boston doesn't get that shine. Especially for me, like as a black girl growing up in Boston, I know that a lot of times my family members would be like, wait, there's black people in Boston. So I love that there's a show to show like, no, actually, many people live in Boston.
And they open it with that. The characters are like, yo, there's black people in Boston. And the characters in the show are like, everyone is experiencing that. And I've also struggled with people's perspective of Boston being as white as it is because I definitely moved out here and was like, you guys really think that still?
I'm like, no. I'm like, I think it's because Boston is so segregated.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when people are visiting, they're like, wait, even my family, they would visit us and be like, where are the people? Where the black? I'm like, guys, there are thousands of black people. You just don't see it. There's Asian people, Hispanic people, white people. There's so many people in Boston. So I love that this show is able to go now into Roxbury.
Yeah.
We're in Charleston. We're in South Boston. We're in Revere. I've never seen a show or movie ever really touch up on Revere.
Hearing these, like, not just as throwaway lines, not just like where The Departed mentions like Salisbury or like Woburn.
Yeah.
Like when The Departed's like Worcester, I'm like, we know.
I'm like, we get it.
But
Worcester's
like going to Revere is a different.
And Revere Beach. So that's what I love about the show. So shout out to the creators and the team that put this together. So speaking about Roxbury, Decourcey, who's Aldous' character, him and his wife Siobhan, they attend a funeral service in Roxbury. And the pastor, who was played by Seth Gillum from The Wire. I know that's everyone's favorite show, so I thought that I'd put that in there. He was one of the detectives on The Wire. He is giving this eulogy about the crime in Roxbury, and this guy was killed by someone there. He wasn't killed by police. He wasn't killed by anybody else, by one of us, and we need to stop the violence and have everyone come together. But in the middle of his speech, 3 people run into the church, and someone is murdered in the church during a funeral. I literally almost shit myself. I was like, wait, what the But then I was like, wait, this is like 1989, 1990 Boston. And it's one of those things where everybody reacts, and Decourcy's sitting there like, wait, what is happening? Because he's in a delicate situation where he's the prosecutor, so he's kind of on 2 different sides and we see the scene where they call him the house N-word, and it's like he's fighting these demons. How did you feel about that scene? Well, it's a lot. How did you feel about the scene with the murder in the church?
5 scenes.
Those 5 different scenes that I just threw out to you. And Decourcy's dilemma, because we see that Jackie we see this bromance kind of build between these 2, and we see that Jackie kind of comes to Decourcy's wife and says, look, he's in a tough situation.
Yeah.
He has to get white people to trust him because he's a prosecutor, but he's black. The police already hate him. The black people already love him, so he doesn't really have to do that. So what do you think about that whole situation?
I think Bacon is 100% manipulating him through his wife.
So bad.
I think that scene is all about the long game. He's playing chess at that house, not checkers.
He is.
And I definitely think I love the scene with Decourcy, right?
Yeah, Decourcy, yeah.
When he's like arms up because I don't want to give you any opportunity to misread this. Like that whole sequence was really powerful because that's still a 2019 situation. So it was interesting to see a 30-year-old timepiece being like, well, so that whole sequence really showed the importance of separating yourself from your work if you're in that position of power, because he can't, anything he does will make anything he does inadmissible. And I thought that was fascinating because you don't see that side of law a lot. Like if he had interacted in any way, that stuff would be a problem, and he's not a cop, he's a lawyer.
Exactly.
So it's those moments in like law shows that are like, it's inadmissible because he was at the scene, and it's like lawyers got to have the same issues. So I love that whole setup, and I also, it felt really authentic. Like Roxbury, like Mission Hill, like that whole little pocket, like the other side of Mission Hill. That's something I could see happening at those churches. Like that 7-Eleven after that, when you get off the red line, terrifying. Like that whole little pocket. So I imagine a church be even scarier, especially then. So it felt very authentic to the neighborhood, but it also felt like a great plot point. It felt like a great way to further the narrative. Exponentially. They don't have to have him go on 5 cases. They have one case that makes it like white people, black people, you got this problem, Kevin Bacon, like it allows it to sum up. And with a 10 episode season, they need these leaps. So I thought that was a perfect 5 moments to really like bring it all to head.
No, it wasn't. I think you're absolutely right, because he's in the situation where he's like, well, I can't even go, I can't touch the body, I can't do shit. I'm a prosecutor, and like you said, it does ring true today where he still has to hold up his hands and have his badge, and he's like, and they're like, why are you raising your hand? And he's like, so you would understand, we're not moving. I'm a lawyer, so you don't understand. We were just shot at. We're not the shooter. So that was really interesting. But I think you're right. I think Kevin Bacon's character is totally manipulating, because he's one of those characters where you love him, you hate to love him. So as he's talking, I'm like, is he fucking manipulating me too? I'm like eating.
It's Kevin Bacon. If they cast anybody else, it'd be like, screw that guy. But they cast Kevin Bacon.
But I love that Siobhan, Decourcey's wife, is like, okay, what do you want? So, and I think she can read through him. But I thought it was a really interesting thing. And they have this conversation where I think this bromance is starting to form between the two, and
surface though.
It's surface.
It's just, it's make believe, and I don't know who's playing who more.
And that's what's bothering me, because I can't figure it out. I'm like, I think what's going to happen, they're going to try to play each other as best as possible, but I think they are going to actually start to like each other.
They have to, and then one's going to betray the other. And which one's it going to be? And that's what buddy cops are for. Except these are dirty buddy cops. And I like that even better. The moment he pulled his eye out, which whoa, but then he lied about it in episode 2 when we went from like that's intense to like I was lying about that intensity. Like they're definitely buddy cops on the other side of the court, and it's gonna be great.
And I love that they both showed each other their hands. He was like, my dad doesn't know King, I had cancer, and Kevin Bacon's character is like, okay, I see you. And I think that now they respect each other. So, you know, we're at episode 2. We're only 2 episodes in, and I'm hooked. They got me. It's really nostalgic, and I'm not just saying this because I grew up in Boston. It's just a really good show.
It helps, but it's not just that.
It helps. Also, who's helping is our guy Jimmie, who was the informant, because at the end of this episode, they find the truck.
And it drops. I love that it falls back in. And
I'm like, so true. So I love it.
Now, I want to give credit to some of the smaller scenes. Tucker in the grocery store is so interesting, because I can't think of a more drab place. Like maybe the DMV, but like grocery stores, not a lot happens. But every time he's stocking freaking groceries, which is what every kid from these small towns do. Everyone I know had to work at a Donnellys or like
Market Basket. You just said Donnellys. Oh my god.
You know what I mean? Though, like everybody had to work at like Hannaford's.
Everybody.
Like you had to have that. Like it was either like Sal's Pizza or Hannaford's. You had to go through that phase in your life. So to see like John Tucker working at what I'm in my head canon is a Hannaford is like so interesting, because he's doing his business. That's his money, not laundering, but his money cover. He was smart enough to get a job, unlike Homie that had the problem because he didn't have a job. And that shows his intelligence through the most mundane of jobs, which shows what kind of like long game he's playing.
He's super smart. And when he said it, he's like, look, I got to work. And when I was like, oh, he's working at the grocery store, because you're not going to look at this guy who's working at a small grocery store who's stocking groceries. He has thousands of dollars in his wall.
And
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Cabbage.
He's like, no, we're good.
Do you want a job?
And I think that's something that he's trying to tell his brother, but his brother's not getting it. Oh, so we thought maybe. Or maybe he's smarter than we think.
And did you ever see Black Donnellys?
No.
Okay, Black Donnellys is one of my favorite shows of all time. Hard stop, like ever.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's incredible. It's Jonathan Tucker as the lead, and he's dealing with his crazy brothers. It's set in New York, but it feels like Boston. So you'd like it for 2 reasons. I think was the Irish take on The Sopranos, and the problem was it came out right around the time that things were going digital. So it was airing on network TV. It was too violent for network TV. So they played the first 2 episodes. They put the third one online, but no one knew how to no one knew how to do that yet.
Right.
So it was on like NBC.com, which was like you had to type in the HTTP.
Oh yeah.
No one knew how to use that yet.
No.
So the show got canceled because it was like 1, 2, 4. When did 3? And then it just spiraled down. Oh. But it's the cast is great. Tucker's the lead of it. Olivia Wilde's in it. Okay. It's a brilliant
Love
show.
Olivia Wilde.
Like it's fantastic. But I think it's this reminds me of that tone, and it shows like that Jonathan Tucker, his family, his sense of self, his sense of worth, and it reminds me a lot of this. So it's a good like sister show.
And I love looking at Jonathan Tucker. I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Dude is so yoked. His neck goes past his ears. And it's so impressive.
Though I love this show, I mean, we have Jonathan Tucker on one end, and then we have Aldous Hodge. For me, I don't know about you guys. These are two, like, when Aldous is wearing a suit and a tie and a shirt, and even when Jonathan Tucker is just, like, stocking groceries, I'm like, 2 men. Beautiful. But I'm kidding. They're probably like, can you relax?
There's cast for a reason.
I'm just saying.
It's not an accident. Some people get cast for certain reasons.
We're just saying. But no, that's very true. But I think
that shirtless conversation wasn't a coincidence.
Okay,
They're just like, yo, show us traps for 30 seconds longer.
They're like, Aldous, can you just have a towel on and we're just going to zoom in?
We're going to light this for your traps, bro. All right, get the lats in. Okay, perfect.
I feel like his shirt's off a lot, which is okay. And so is Kevin Bacon's. And I love Kevin Bacon, so...
Yo, Kevin Bacon, good on you, man. You're up there and you're still doing cardio.
He looks amazing.
Hell yeah.
It's sickening how him and his wife both carry such... Like, they both look amazing.
And like an actual loving couple in Hollywood. I love them. Like decades deep.
Yeah, I think they've been together for like maybe over 20 years.
Yeah, it's truly incredible.
Actors.
This is the crossover with your Kardashian show. We just had like a 3-minute... We just had a little gossip.
Just had like a little gossip
I completely,
area.
as a heterosexual male, acknowledge how handsome these 3 men are and that they're cast with the bodies. And then, like, by the way, they're married really long time. They're really a happy couple.
I love that we went, like, super serious in the hill and we just had a whole gossip.
Little corner.
We had to do it. No, this was a really good episode. Is there anything else you want to mention before we go into our segments?
I think that the show is going to start surprising us around episode 4 and 5. I think we've got one more episode of slow burn, and then I think it's going to be one of those shows where 4 or 5, it's going to be like, oh, by the way, all that you expected, now the match is lit. So I see that coming. I definitely think that we're going to start to see tribes form. We've already got your team names, but
Charleston
I think it's
Boys and the Dream Team.
I think we're gonna get a couple more new characters added to our little posses, and I think that's gonna be the ignition for episode 4 and 5. Just a theory before they come out.
I love that. Also, what I love about this show is the historical facts. We hear about Whitey Bulger, and if you're a kid from Boston, he was that mysterious. He was the boogeyman, and I like that they bring up the Boston busing situation because Boston, though as liberal as Boston is, Boston was one of the last states to bus black kids into other neighborhoods, and they have that program now, which is called Metco, where kids from inner city areas go to like Salisbury or all these other different places. So I love that they brought that up. I love the history and I love this show.
Yeah.
Really good. So I guess we can get into our special segment.
All right, we got a special segment. I wanted to go real custom, about as specific as it gets. All right, our special segment is going to be... Keven Bacon's Boston Rolls. Not just top Keven Bacon rolls, not just Boston rolls, Keven Bacon's Boston Rolls. Hey. He has done many, and I'm going to rank them. I'm going to say the top 5 Keven Bacon Boston Rolls, which is harder to say than you might think, but also sounds delicious because you're combining bacon and rolls, are number 1, Mystic River. Number 2, Patriots Day. Number 3, Black Mass. Number 4, Smilf. And number 5, R.I.P.D. are, I believe, the top 5 bacon rolls set in Boston. And I'm not saying that Black Mass is not as good of a movie as Patriots Day. I mean his performance in it, because I feel like what he got to do in Patriots Day was a little more bacony.
That was a good one.
It was a thicker cut of bacon.
But I see what you did there. But who knew Kevin Bacon was in so much movies in Boston?
I think he loves that city. I think he's like got a house there now. Because like after Mystic River, there's a more consistent Boston base. I think he's
Kevin.
like, yo, I love this city. I'm gonna buy a house. Now he's like, I want to stay in our Boston spot.
He's like, I actually like Boston. It's pretty cool.
And the accents. Oh, we didn't talk about the accents.
The accent. Okay.
That should be its own segment.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on the accents? Or anytime you see a Boston movie or show with these Boston accents?
My favorite thing about the Boston accent is it's not so much an accent as it's in saying words wrong.
Yes, I'm like,
Boston isn't an accent because accents have rules. Like, I'm from there, and I'm like, what are you trying to get across when I go home? Because I've lost the ear for some of it. Yeah. But also, the second I get on the T, R's are gone, and like O's get weird. Gone. I think especially Kevin Bacon and John Tucker, who loves Boston. Like Tucker's from Charleston, I think.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like he's a local boy. I don't know if it's Charleston, but he's one of those.
He's one of He's
got a 9 in his zip code, and I definitely think that they captured it really well. And I think the day players do way better than most.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm waiting for someone to slip, and I haven't heard it yet. But it's also an accent where it's like, I don't know what neighborhood you're from, so maybe that is wrong. Like Quincy and Malden and Quincy have different flavors.
Very different flavors.
Southie and Lowell have different flavors.
Chelsea and like Medford, I can hear the accent a little bit. So I'm from New York, but I grew up in Chelsea.
Yeah.
So my accent is a mix of a New York Boston accent. Okay. But when I watch certain movies and shows, I'm like, okay, people have accents, but they're not as exaggerated as they do.
Benedict Cumberbatch in Black Mass.
I'm like, okay.
What was that?
Now, maybe older folks, but I do feel like it's a little exaggerated. But I think you're right. Like, Kevin Bacon and Tucker do a good job at the accents.
That grounds it.
And it's good, but sometimes I'm like, okay, we get it. It's Ka. We get it. It's not as bad as.
But Cumberbatch trying to do that Kennedy thing in Black Mass, where he was just like. But I also think it's like London, right? You've got the posh, and you've got the what's the other side of posh?
Slang kind of in London.
Cockney? Is that the term?
I don't know.
I'm not British, but there's like different flavors of accents.
Yes.
And I feel like Boston, even though it's only this many square feet, has more dialects than most cities.
It does, because everyone sounds different from Southie, from Roxbury, Dorchester to Chelsea. Like everyone sounds different. So if you guys are in the comments, and if anyone's from Boston, visited, have family and friends, let us know you guys have accents. Them right. Yeah,
because I lost mine on purpose. I got out here and like I was not taken seriously.
I'm upset that I have one because I'm from New York.
I had to like drop it because I was really afraid of like I'd go into a room and they'd be like, this kid's gonna play one thing, Boston Thug 7
with an H.
Yeah, Boston. That's how you spell it. Boston. Like when you got the sicko sign, you represent. But like I think that they do a good job of making it sound real and maybe toning it down enough where we're not all like, is this an episode of Family Guy?
Yeah, because literally every movie or show that I watch, I'm like, all right, it's exaggerated. Though I'm from New York, but I grew up in Boston, I'm like, it's not that bad. So I think they do a really, really good job.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. And that's actually one of the show's strengths for me is the authenticity of not just the setting, but also the characters feel like they're from Boston too, and they look like they're from Boston.
They do, and that's why I love it.
The first thing I said about that girl that homie hooks up with in the bathroom, I was like, I guarantee she's got a hyphen in her name.
I was like, she's probably from Lynn.
She's a something Lynn. Like that's a Kathy Lynn or a Mary Lynn. Like that joke in Ted is authentic. She's got a hyphen.
Which I love, and I love that Ted was filmed in Chelsea. Shout out to Chelsea, my hometown.
Chelsea's putting in work.
No one cares about Chelsea. But let's go to our next segment, our news and gossip segment.
Well, we already gossiped.
We are gossip. So now this is just news.
So we got some news for you. In the world of Boston, a body was found at a Boston construction site in Southie yesterday, surprising no one. No disrespect to the dead. I can't. Every time I look up Boston news, that is usually in the top.
Always in Southie.
It's just right there. But on the other side, I want to say Boston is a bastion of progressiveness and intelligence as well as drunken violence. And that is the beautiful thing. I travel all the time. I think Boston is the best city in the world because it balances both the worst and best of America. And it represents all of us.
I agree.
It truly is.
It does.
If aliens were to land anywhere, I'd say Boston is a good, this is how we mess up and succeed. So on the other side of finding a body, a bill is under consideration at the Massachusetts State House at the idea of establishing a universal basic income. A long shot bill would create a pilot program that would include 100 residents in each of 3 economically diverse cities and towns within Boston, and they would pay all of these people $1,000 a month for 3 years to test out what it's like to have universal basic income. So the idea is the economy doesn't work the way it is now, whether you're rich or poor. Well, if you're rich, you won't agree with me, but if you're poor or middle class, you can say it's not working. There is a problem with doctors that were making $15 an hour 20 years ago and people making $15 an hour minimum wage have to go up, but what's that balance? So universal basic income is an idea people have had, and I think Massachusetts testing that out in 3 very economically diverse towns, cool idea.
I think that's very cool.
So that just happened. There was a shooting in Mattapan about 6 hours ago. Mattapan, another town that you hear about, and this was one of the biggest ones for me. Did you hear about there is a $2.6 billion hotel casino opening up?
Yes, because my mother reminded me. She said that she was like, girl, the casino just opened.
When did the law pass?
So when I went home
we got arrested for gambling when I lived in Massachusetts.
Listen, when I went home for Christmas, I live in Chelsea, so when you go to the back way and you drive down this area, I was like, what the hell are they building? My best friend's like, oh, it's a casino coming. This weekend, my mother said the casino finally opened.
Just did. So it is on the Mystic. There's a casino on the Mystic.
On the Mystic.
And it's
dead bodies are on the Mystic.
Just stacks of bodies are coming to that casino. But like, it's the Wynn Company from Vegas, and it's called the Encore. It's going to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, never close.
Wow.
And it's $2.6 billion hotel and casino. The pictures look insane. It's on the Mystic.
It's huge.
It's insane. They also found another body in the Charles this week.
There we go.
We have now, I think we've got a clip for you guys, and this translates to real life news. I want you guys to see and also hear these sounds. The sound is truly haunting. Here we go. That is the sound of our doom.
This is so creepy.
Boston Dynamics has developed robot dogs. This is a fleet of robot dogs. If you can hear them.
What the
Does that not sound like dude? Like, this is what like Skynet's active.
Why do we need robot dogs?
What's scary? Yeah.
What the hell?
That's
Are
how
they holding
strong
a
they
truck?
are.
Oh, hell no.
It gets... So they have decided to release these type of dogs for commercial use. They are starting by the end of the year, doing final tweaks. Proof of concept dogs are already out. This is a video of them. By the end of the year, they expect commercial versions of Spot to be available to consumers.
Creepy.
You can buy one of those by the end of the year.
Can you imagine?
Boston Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics. Look, Boston, I have an idea. How about we extend the train until like 4 a.m. and the clubs till 4 a.m. We don't need robot dogs. Look, that's so creepy.
Let's fix the T. Let's
fix the T.
You know what I mean? Let's finalize the big dig from when we were kids. I don't know. That's an idea.
Let's get some more buses going in. Like, let's do that.
There was a shooting in Worcester, a barber shop. This one was crazy. A driver hits 2 pedestrians in Woburn's Applebee's parking lot, is charged with an OUI. The idea that something happened outside of the Applebee's drunker than in the Applebee's is crazy to me.
It's insane.
After nines at Applebee's.
Applebee's is amazing.
It's the best deal in town.
There's this like Applebee's in Everett.
We gotta talk. Applebee's.
Listen.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after.
Yeah,
Next time we're both home, Uber and Applebee's.
We're gonna go home.
It's the spot. And then the final bit of news that is personal to me, especially, actually briefly, Boston police will start wearing cameras in Dorchester and Southie as of next week. They're starting a rollout, which I think is great, and they're excited about it. Final bit of news important to me. They're talking about selling Mull's Diner and putting a freaking condo there, but maybe keeping Mull's as the basement, as the floor level. Mull's is an institution. Don't touch Mull's. Mull's is my favorite spot in Southie.
I need to go there. I've never been there before.
Mull's the best breakfast in town. Best hash browns in Massachusetts.
Okay,
like,
next time I go home.
Corned beef hash from Mull's.
I'm trying this.
I'm gonna just give you a list.
So
we'll compare notes.
Let's compare lists. Like,
Chelsea.
I'll give you a list of places that I like in Boston, and you give me a list of places that you like in Boston.
That's what the show's gonna turn into.
That's what we're just gonna give.
The AfterBuzz Boston. This isn't the best City of the Hill anymore. It's City of the Hill.
Sorry, City
Gossip.
of the Hill.
Boston Gossip.
Yes, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. This has been an amazing second episode. Before we go, Coy, let the fans know where they can find you out on social media and all that stuff, and where they can stalk you.
So you can find me and stalk me at Coyjandreau, CoyJandreau on Twitter and Instagram. I host comic book shopping at Collider. I host Collider Heroes. I've got shows in Nerdist. I've got stuff at Screen Junkies. I'm doing a Screen Junkies movie fight next week. Basically, all of the internet. I like being there. And we've got a very special comic book shopping dropping in a week and a half that I can't wait to share with you guys.
Awesome. Guys, I'm Nakia Monet. You can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom. I host a whole bunch of shows here, but man, it's too late for me to even list them all. But this might be my favorite because, again, I'm from Boston and we're both very biased. Make sure you guys come back for episode 3. And if you guys are in the comments, let us know what you guys want us to talk about. If you guys are fans of Boston, let us know, because we would love to talk about it. We would probably do that the whole hour.
Yes, if we could, it would be about the Boston After Show. Once we got through all 10 episodes of City in the Hill, there's another
Boston
10 about
After
Boston.
Show. So we're going to do that. So guys, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next Sunday. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.